Hello everyone, it's me again, and I'm back for another video. So, I know I haven't posted in such a long time, and I'm really sorry, but I've just been trying to adjust to things, and I've been dealing with burnout and stuff like that, but I promise I'm gonna dedicate myself to the channel again. So, hopefully I can start releasing a steadier stream of content. I've also been running out of video ideas, so if there's anything that you'd like to see, please, I implore you, tell me in the comments. But with that out of the way, today we're going to be analyzing all of the new images released for Jurassic World Dominion. There have been around 4, and I think they're definitely worth looking at, as they give us some needed insight into the film and raise some interesting questions. But besides that, let's just get right into the analysis. So here we're going to look at the first image released for Jurassic World Dominion. Now, this image features Claire in a swampy redwoods-like environment similar to the Lost World's Isla Sorna, as well as a dinosaur standing right behind her. If you didn't notice, this dinosaur is the Therizinosaurus. You can tell it's a Therizinosaurus by its huge, gigantic claws that we can see right here, and also Colin Trevorrow confirmed it on Twitter. Now, from what we see, the Therizinosaurus is scaly, however, it will most likely have feathering on the body itself, as just because its feet and claws don't have feathering does not mean that the rest of the body doesn't, as well as the fact that we have toy leaks that shows us that, well, the body is feathered. As you can see, Claire Deering is up to her neck in water, and she is clearly very terrified. There we go, we got a little Shrek right here. The shot looks very nice, ultimately just a good still. I'm excited to see what this scene has. I really do hope that the Therizinosaurus is the main cause of this scene, because herbivores can be dangerous, and really a lot of people don't realize that, and I think it's time that we start dispelling that rumor. I also hope that the Therizinosaurus has a reason for chasing down Claire, like for instance Claire pissed it off or something like that. I think that's all we can really gather from this image. One thing we can see is that clearly here, the environment is very similar to this environment right here, being a swampy, wetlands, kind of redwoods environment. Now, I have 3 theories onto what this is. Now you see, the Lost World Jurassic Park was actually filmed in California due to budgetary reasons, which is why we saw dense coniferous redwoods instead of the tropical environment. So, that's my first theory. This environment could just really be California. As we know, the dinosaurs got out from California, and California is most likely going to feature in the film itself. My second theory is, well, as I told you, The Lost World was filmed in California with a redwoods environment, which means that this environment that we see right here, which does look very similar to Isla Sorna's conifers and the redwoods, it could in fact be Isla Sorna. My third theory, this one's gonna get a little more wild. As we know, the Dilophosaurus is going to make a reappearance in Jurassic World Dominion, and it turns out that the Dilophosaurus has already appeared in Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous in, would you look at that, a swampy environment, just like this one. Which begs to question, what is the environment that we're seeing here? And could it, in fact, be Manticore Island, the island that the Dilophosaurus has recently reappeared on? Personally, I think that Isla Sorna is the most likely out of the 3, but it would really be cool if it was Manticore Island. But that's all I can really get out of this one image. Let's move on to the next image. The next image features Chris Pratt wrangling Parasaurolophus. Now, do keep in mind, there's some stuff from articles said in here. I'm not going to be analyzing those articles, but I will be pulling quotes and ideas from the articles themselves, so do keep that in mind. Basically, the story here is that there are different types of people trying to get a hold of these dinosaurs. Now that they're out on the mainland, people would obviously want them for their own nefarious purposes. So, Chris Pratt and what I'm assuming to be the DFW are wrangling up these Parasaurolophus and moving them to a safe location. The scene kind of reminds me of the Lost World's Parasaurolophus wrangling scene, which is a nice callback. Chris is clearly trying to calm the Parasaurolophus down, and the Parasaurolophus has a new look, which I'll go into in just a bit. The environment that we see here is clearly a snowy taiga environment. Jurassic World Dominion will feature all sorts of environment. Urban, desert, frosty, snowy environments, forests, all kinds of them. It's a globe-trotting adventure set all over the world, and so we really get to see unique and interesting environments and visuals. I think here might be Canada or someplace like that. Ultimately, I think it's a good still, just not as good as the first one. Here we get a closer shot at the Parasaurolophus. Parasaurolophus has a red eye. As you can see, it has a little skin flap that we were able to see in the previous image, and overall it just looks nice. I really like the patterning and all that that kind of stuff, and I like how it looks a little more bulky, you could say. This seems to be either a puppet or an animatronic, but I think it is definitely a physical object. It's not CGI. And it looks beautiful. You can see the individual scaling details, all that kind of stuff. I really think this Parasaurolophus looks good. The next image is this. Chris Pratt on a motorcycle running away from an Atrocioraptor in Malta. This is the most recent image we've gotten. It's a look at the Atrocioraptor that I believe is called Ghost, but I am not going to be sticking to the names because I'm just not a fan of how they've named these dinosaurs and how they use the naming of the dinosaurs. One thing that I hope for is that the Atrocioraptors aren't presented as evil or bad guys, that they're just animals. And in an earlier article shared with this still, and also another director's commentary for the Jurassic World Dominion prologue, it is said that the film relies on the animals acting naturally. And in the prologue, which was made for the film itself but then got cut, they do really act naturally. They watch a lot of nature documentaries making it, and I really hope that they do good on that promise and that the animals act like real animals, which I really do love. The Atrocioraptors don't seem to be, evil, or they don't seem to be superheroes, they just seem to be animals. Colin Trevorrow described the Atrocioraptors as a bit more brutish than the Velociraptors. These things will just go at you and they won't stop. That does honestly sound like the Velociraptors, but allow me to put it in a better perspective for you. Take the clever girl scene. As you can see, the Velociraptors were hiding out, using strategy to surprise Robert Muldoon. Imagine if instead of Velociraptors, we got Atrocioraptors. Instead of hiding and using strategy, these things would just run at you from the jungle. Robert Muldoon was staring right at the Velociraptor. This wouldn't have happened if they were Atrocioraptors. They would have just run out and started attacking him no matter what, without putting any kind of ambush strategy in place. That is what I think better defines what the Atrocioraptors are like. Looking at the scene, I actually like this still a lot. It's very refreshing to see them in new urban environments, and Colin Trevorrow said that he wanted to put them in more ancient kind of environments like Stonehenge and all that kind of stuff to kind of draw a parallel between our ancient history and the dinosaurs being ancient themselves. I honestly like the Atrocioraptor. People have complained that they're too similar to the Velociraptors, but in reality, and while I really don't care about accuracy, the Atrocioraptors were just more robust, blockier versions of Velociraptors like they are in Jurassic World Dominion. I get that the Atrocioraptors are actually pretty fragmentary, but they work with what they had. I like the design and I like the boxier head. This design is clearly a callback to Jurassic Park 3, and I love how the other Atrocioraptor designs are callbacks to The Lost World. I really do like it. This scene is of course in Malta, as I mentioned, and Chris is clearly, CGI'd onto someone else. One thing that I'd like to know is, how did the Atrocioraptors get here exactly? Because dinosaurs got out in California. Film takes place 4 years after Fallen Kingdom in 2022, which would be a lot of time for dinosaurs to get out on the mainland. I know realistically the dinosaurs would be captured and it would be a contrivance, but honestly, if they needed to make the film work, I'll excuse it. Dinosaurs are all out over the world, and it's going to be interesting to see how they got past the USA and into all the places that they are in. So far, I like the scene and I think it's exciting. Another thing to note is that in the article that accompanied this still, Colin Trevorrow actually stated that when we see the trailer, we're going to be surprised at how all out he went, which means that Colin Trevorrow has seen the trailer is complete, and that I think it's ready to release. And if we take a look at all of these stills that have been very recently released, I think it's safe to say a trailer is actually going to come soon. I think it's going to come early January, and there is a fifth image that I want to go over. This was revealed on Colin Trevorrow's Instagram. And as you can see, it's not too important at first glance. There is a Christmas, tree and all that kind of stuff. It was mainly just to wish us a Merry Christmas. But what's interesting is over here. I think this is very much blue, though it could be another Velociraptor. And over here is her baby. It is shown to us in Jurassic World Aftermath that she is capable of what's called parthenogenesis. She can basically asexually reproduce, which means that this is probably Blue's child, and we're probably going to be seeing it in the film itself. I personally don't really like Blue or her role that much, but we're going to have to see how it goes. I'm neutral about this. There we go. Little Therizinosaurus head. Looking at all of the stills in the articles, they show a lot of promise. Personally, looking at these, I get a little more optimistic each time. Right now, I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic for Dominion, as of course Fallen Kingdom is there to weigh down the expectations a fair bit. But right now, the signs that we've seen are actually pretty good, and I'm excited to see what comes. I'm not expecting the movie to be amazing or something, but what we've seen is not bad. But I think that's gonna be it. I've done a review on the Jurassic World Dominion prologue, and if you want my thoughts on that, you can go check that out. But besides that, if you like this video, give it a like. If you didn't, tell me why in the comments. I'd love to know why. The Discord will be in the description, and with that out of the way, see you later.